Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. A lot of you are new here, so welcome. My name is Shadavia and this is She Budgets, where I talk about all things money, budgeting, and savings related. So if any of that is content you're into, go ahead and do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget that notification bell so you don't miss the next time I post. By the title of today's video, you can see we're going to be doing a budget with me, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to budget your paycheck in 2023 while currently being on a low income budget. So with all of my budget with me's, I do like to share my real numbers just so you guys can see how much I'm bringing in and how much I'm actually putting out, and showing that I can relate to a lot of you being low income earners. So let's go ahead and get straight into today's budget with me and look at these numbers. So I like to always start my budget with me's by writing down every single thing that I know needs to be taken care of. So the first thing in my budget that I take care of is my mortgage, insurance, and phone. Now this actually goes into a separate account because, as you can imagine, these are some of my larger bills. And as a low income earner, I prefer to split those bills in half bi-weekly, because that's how often I'm paid, to kind of make it more manageable for myself. Now, if I were to take out my full mortgage payment or my full insurance or phone bill, it would put a huge dent in my budget. So the best way I like to do it, again, is just cut it in half, make it more manageable for me, and that way it kind of balance out my paycheck every 2 weeks. So I have this going into a separate account so I never see it, and that way these bills can be automatically withdrawn out of. So in this account, there is a total of $452 that goes into that account every single 2 weeks. So this comes out of my paycheck first before anything else. Now, once that actually comes out of my paycheck, I am then left with $1,017.68 for the next 2 weeks. Now, this amount here is what I put into I pay for my bills, any cash envelopes, savings, and debt that I want to take care of for this next 2 weeks. If you don't have a buffer, make sure that you're including a buffer in your budget as well. And this is just for those expenses that you completely forget about, or maybe it's on a quarterly basis and you just did not budget for them. I had a few of those the last few months, so I started to make sure that I was putting money into my buffer again. Now for this paycheck, because I did already receive some side hustle income, I'm not actually gonna put anything else into my buffer for this first paycheck of January. So let me go ahead and put a 0 here, and again, that's just gonna bring us back down to our $1,017.68. And then this is where we get really into the main point of the budget, taking care of business first. So as you can see, I wrote out my bills that are actually due this paycheck. Now these bills I have predetermined based off of their due date, and so since this is the last paycheck of December, this is actually going to take care of all of my bills that's in those first 2 weeks of January. Now, my car note is something that gets paid every single 2 weeks, even if it's not due. And I do that because, one, I end up with an extra car note payment over the year, but also two, it helps me save interest over the life of the loan, and then I can get ahead on that car note as well. So I think right now I'm already a full month ahead on that car note, but again, I am trying to pay that car off as soon as possible. If you're new to my channel, I did purchase a new vehicle last year. So it's been 1 full year that I've actually had my car. So I still owe quite a bit on it. But it is going to be my next debt I'm going to be working towards getting paid off. So my car note, half of my car note is going to be $249 that I'm going to budget out on this paycheck. And let's go ahead and do 1017. Well, we'll just wait until I finish because these are all of my bills. So the next bill that I have is my gas bill, which is Atmos. And so my Atmos bill, which is already available for me to see, is gonna be $100 and $10. And then I have a few subscriptions that I have to take care of on this paycheck as well. So I have Pixie Set, which is just a subscription, website hosting for my photography business. And that's only $10 a month. But as you can see, even though it's just $10 and I could have just letting it come out of my buffer, I still budget for that because it is part of what's coming out of my checking account. The next subscriptions or storage, I guess you can say, is for myself and my daughter. So I record all of my videos on my iPhone, which does take up a lot of space. So I had to pay for additional storage. And as someone who loves to absolutely take pictures, then I need to make sure that I have the storage for all of those photos as well. So I do pay for extra storage for myself, which is $9.99, and then for my daughter's iPhone as well, some additional storage for her, but that's only 99 cents. And you guys, no matter how big or small the subscription is, when you're creating your budget, make sure you're writing down every single thing so that you can budget by your paycheck to see exactly how much is coming out of each paycheck and how much you have left over for fun, debt, investing, etc. A lot of this year, I've actually taken the time to minimize my bills. So that's why you see on this budget with me that there is not a lot of bills that need to be taken care of. And that's simply because I worked really hard in 2022 to pay off as much credit card debt as I possibly could, eliminate any subscriptions that I was not actively using, and that just created more space and room in my budget for me to have a little more extra funds. And being on a low income budget, that is very important because sometimes things get really, really tight and we just feel like we simply don't make enough, but we need to learn how to cut back on the things that are not a necessity, and maybe it could wait until we are able to free up some more funds in our budget. So I do also have a subscription for Apple Music, and that is $6.48. And then the last bill that I have for my January 2023 budget with me is my light bills. And you guys, the blessing of this budget with me is that I previously enrolled into what is called a budget billing for my lights. Now, it turns out that I actually do not benefit from that whatsoever. If you guys saw my last budget with me, I got a notice in the mail saying that my light bill was past due. So I called them because I just felt that there was an error in the system, and there was a glitch in their system. But the lady explained to me I don't benefit from that budget billing simply because my bills don't necessarily get too high. So I was budgeting out about $240, and so my light bill is another bill that I typically cut in half because I would prefer to come out of each paycheck $120 opposed to one paycheck of the full $240. So if you have any large bills like that, my best suggestion for low income earners especially, or really all earners, is just to cut it in half. It helps balance out those paychecks so that each payday is a little more consistent opposed to having $200 left on one check and then $600 left on another check if you're paid bi-weekly. To me, it just makes sense if you have maybe 300 and 300, or maybe 250, 350. It kind of depends on what bills are due during that time. But nevertheless, my light bill is actually completely taken care of already, so I'm not gonna budget out anything. That bill ended up being $116.51, and again, you guys, that's because I've been overpaying over these last few months that I decided to enroll into that budget billing. So I think I had a credit about $125, and then this $116 I already took care of in my last budget with me, where I set aside the first half of this payment, which was $120, and that's how it canceled out my light bill. So nothing is going to lights for this actual paycheck. Now let's go ahead and see how much we have left over. So I started with 1017. I'm going to put that down so you guys can see. 1017.68 minus 249 minus 110 minus 10 minus $9.99, $6.48, and then that's going to be it. So then after my bills, you guys, I am left with $631.22 that I can budget into my cash envelopes, which are my variable expenses, and then any savings challenges or debts that I have as well. So I did share in my last video how I plan to save $10,000. I'm not going to start it on this paycheck. It's actually going to start on my next paycheck. But as you guys probably remember, or you probably saw, is that I'm going to be taking out $209 from every single paycheck to kind of help me out with saving that $10,000. Now, as you can see, that is going to be very much possible with how much I have left over after my bills are taken care of. Again, because I spent a lot of this year condensing my bills and just being more intentional with my budget. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect whatsoever. I still slip up, I still make mistakes in my budget, but the best part about it is that I do know how to create a budget and I know how to stick to a budget for the most part. So with myself being a low income earner, I do love to prioritize my savings, and so I like to save as much as I possibly can to kind of just create that cushion for myself and my family in the case of those emergency. I have the funds that we need. So with that being said, the first thing that I'm going to be putting money aside for is my emergency fund. Now, again, in one of my recent videos, I told you guys that I had to spend $237 from that emergency fund to replace my car battery. So I'm going to go ahead and rebuild up my emergency fund over these next few paychecks as well. And so from this one, I'm going to go ahead and add back into my emergency fund $118. So that's about half of what I took out. Still doesn't put me right there at that $1,000 for my emergency fund, but it does kind of go ahead and start helping me rebuild that up as well. So when I take the 118 from what was left, I then have $513.22. So then I look at my budget and I'm like, okay, what are some things that I know are not going to change? So one of those things that are consistent over paycheck to paycheck is going to be my gas budget. So my gas is for my vehicle itself, and I do work from home, but I drive an SUV. So it does take me quite a bit to fill up. So I just like to budget out $60 for my car. And again, that carries me week to week. Because I do work from home. And so when I do get low on gas, I try to be mindful of my commutes and how far I'm going and where I'm going, just so that I can make it to my next payday. So when I subtract that $60 from there, I'm then left with $453. Now, my groceries, if you guys remember, I was blessed to receive the PEBT benefits from the state, which are the pandemic food stamps for I want to say low income earners, but it's not. I think it's for anyone who actually qualifies for a free or reduced lunch, like you received it in the state of Texas. I'm in Texas, so I got it. So it was $391. Now, normally I would put $100 aside for my groceries per week, and then my husband will pay the $100 the next week. But since I received those PEBT benefits, then I don't have to budget anything for groceries. And that is why I decided to put that additional $118 back into my emergency fund, simply because I don't have to put the $100 here for groceries. Now, the next priority I have is my 100 envelope challenge. Now, my 100 envelope challenge is going to be what I use to pay off this credit card debt. So because that is the case, my credit card debt is actually going to get 0. And then I'm going to be putting aside $327 towards that 100 envelope challenge. Now, that does not complete the challenge for me. I still have about 30 envelopes, but it's number 1 through 30. And I strongly believe that I should be able to complete that in the month of January. So $327 now puts our budget down to $126. I'm not putting anything aside for my sinking funds just yet for 2023, and simply because I haven't set my sinking funds goals, and I kind of want to really like hurry up and finish this challenge, 100 envelope challenge, and rebuild that emergency fund so I can go ahead and pay off this credit card, this last credit card that I actually have. So with our $126 that's left over, we still have funds in our household envelope as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some more funds. I usually put about $20 in household, but since one week I was able to put $40 away, and that has just been carrying me week to week. And honestly, you guys, if I'm being honest, sometimes it seems like every time we need something for the household, my husband has been getting it. So the money that I budget aside has just kind of been rolling over, unless it's like little things that I need to pick up here and there. So that is a question that I get as well. Do I budget for my household, or do I only budget for the income that I bring in? And so the answer is I only budget my paycheck. So whatever you guys are seeing, these are my real numbers that I share, and this is how I budget my income. My husband and I have different responsibilities that we choose to take care of, so everything you see is just based off of one income, which is my income. But for my household, again, I'm just gonna put in $13, and that's gonna take it back up to like that $40, what I believe. I think there's like $27. I'll have to double check, but $13 is gonna go to there, and then I'm going to be left with 100. Did I do that right? So I took 60, 370. Oh my gosh, you guys, I think I messed up my budget. Let me go back. Okay, so 631 minus 327 minus 118 minus 60 minus 13. Okay, yes, so $113 is what I'm left aside with. So then I have my self-care and family and fun. And self-care, I do like to put at least something aside for myself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give myself I'm gonna give myself $13. No. So you guys, sometimes I just decide on how much I want to put aside for myself, because I don't necessarily have any plans. If I have a plan to go to like a concert or something like that, then I know how much to put aside. But ideally, I just want to put something aside. So I'm going to go ahead and put $38 aside for myself. And then I'm going to put $75 aside for family fun. And again, you guys, I am a family of 5, so I just like to put funds aside for us to be able to do something between the 2 weeks. That doesn't necessarily mean that we need to spend that $75, but we have it if we choose to use it. So once I take that $75 away from that, that does take us down to a zero-based budget. And so that's how I like to budget my paycheck. And I do use the budget by paycheck method, because every single payday I break down my budget and see where each funds is going to go to. So if you guys made it all the way through to the video, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments how often you are paid and how you budget your paycheck. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, joining me on my journey to financial freedom. But that is it for today's upload, you guys. Oh, and lastly, don't forget I have my collaboration giveaway with Lay from Motherhood and Finances. That is going to be running for the next 2 days, and then the winner is going to be announced in my December 31st video, you guys. So check out that giveaway details as well. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.